Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to CAT 2 Lab. In this video, we will cover the blend option. In the last session, we did the sweep command. So, like the sweep command, the blend option is also not available in this particular default working group. So, you have to go to the insert menu, and within the insert, in the protrusion menu, the blend option is there. So like the sweep command, in the blend we do have all the options of solid generation, thin generation, and you can generate a model as a surface. And similarly, we also have the cut options. So if you have a part and you want to remove this particular generation from that existing part, so वो आप कर सकते हैं, ठीक है ना. So right now again we do not have any parts, so these menus are active. So as you generate your first protrusion, so then these options will also be available. So let us start. So by the way, blend is again a protrusion command, and this is another methodology of creating a solid object. And as I told you so many times that protrusion is basically a methodology by which you generate a profile along a trajectory. Trajectory means along a path, and the resultant object basically depends on the section, on the shape of the section, and the type of trajectory that you are using. So in extrude you have a sketch, and that sketch is normally generated normal to the sketching plane. Revolve mein you have a sketch and you generate that sketch in a circular direction. In sweep that we did in the last session, you have a section, and then you can generate that section along a path which will be defined in a particular plane. Similarly, in the blend option, you do not need to define a path. You will have to generate multiple sections, and basically it will join all those sections depending upon their distances, that what distance is in between two consecutive entities. So as far as the sections are concerned, so section can be parallel to each other. So उसके लिए parallel blend हम use करेंगे. If you want a rotational blend, so the sections must be then at certain angle to one another, and similarly you can have a general type of blend. So basically blend is an alternative of extrusion, revolutions, and the swept commands. So normally in extrude or revolve or in the sweep command, when you generate a section, so it is generated, and throughout the trajectory, throughout the path, the cross-sectional area of that section does not change. It remains the same. So what you can do in blending is that you can change the cross-sectional areas of the sections during generation process. Like for example, at the start, if you have a rectangle, so that rectangular area can be 2 by 2 units, and at the end it can be 9 by 10 units. So whatever is the dimension of that rectangle, so you can do that. So this is basically the basic difference of the blending from the rest of the above commands, that in the blend operation you can change the cross-sectional areas of the solid object during the generation. So let us start. So again I will start with the solid model. So I will go for the protrusion option. So simply click on the protrusion, and like the sweep command, a pop-up window will appear which will guide you through the rest of the procedure. So within that main pop-up you can see three different options available to you, among which you can pick any one. Like the parallel one, as I said, that the entities can be parallel to each other. It can be rotational, revolve का जो alternative है, or it can be general. General is alternative of the sweep command. Like in sweep you have a section and then you can define the trajectory in any direction. So similarly in general blending you can go in any direction for the generation. So basically the section can be at any angle, it can be at any distance. So we will do them all of these three options. So in this video I'm going to start with the parallel options. So first you have to select the type of blend that what type of blend you are basically starting with. So I will select the parallel option. So within the parallel, so then you have the next option available, that what should be the type of the section, the profile that you are using. So we will sketch a regular section. We can have an existing section and we can take the projection of that, but that is a little bit advanced version of blend. So here we will only discuss the regular sections. So in parallel I will select the regular, and then within the regular section you will have to sketch that section. So parallel का option मैंने select किया, I will go for regular section and I will sketch that section. So these are my initial selections for the parallel blend. So I will click on the done button. So as I have selected the sketch options, so again you can see that a next pop-up appears in which you will see the list of all the parameters that you must address for the blending. And you can see this arrowhead is pointing towards the attributes. So attributes are basically the properties of the blended object that you will get. So if you look into the information column, so it is in the defining phase. So now right now we are defining the attributes for our blended objects. So attributes can be of two types. Like you can have a straight blend or smooth blend. So let me start with the straight one. So if you have two sections, so those two sections can be connected through straight lines or it can be connected through curves. So we will see the difference afterwards when I complete the section. So let me go for the straight option. So यहाँ पे आप जो है वो attribute select करेंगे कि आपने straight blending करनी है या smooth curves के through आपने करनी है. So select that particular option and then click the done button. You can see the arrowhead has now jumped to the second parameter, which is the section. So यहाँ पे अगर आप देखें तो now we will sketch the sections, the profiles, and info में अगर आप देखें, so you are in the defining phase of the sketch. So like sweep, again it will ask for the option कि आपने जो sketch बनाना है, whether you want to make that sketch on these existing planes or you want to make your own datum plane. So I will select one of the default planes. Suppose the top plane here. So I will go for the plane option. Otherwise you can go for the make datum and first you will define the datum plane and then you can select that. So plane को मैं select करके OK कर देता हूँ. So now it will select ask you to select that plane. So plane मैंने select नहीं किया था, so I will first select the plane. So then it will ask for that same procedure. So positive flip direction जो है वो आप use करेंगे. So let me change this direction to the other side so that we can look to the sketch from the top side. And OK. and then orientation के लिए आप जो है वही methodology, if I click on the default, so it will take this right plane and will make it parallel to the right side of the screen. So I will go for the default option. So here is your sketcher now, and you can start creating sections. So let me start with a simple rectangle. Okay? And look at the sequence of that rectangle. This is my start point and this is my other point. Okay? So the direction of the points along this rectangle is in this direction. So this is the first point, here the second point hoga, this will be the third point, and this is the fourth point. So you need to remember the number of points or the number of edges in blending, because in blend you do not have any path, so it will basically join first point of the first entity to the first point of the second sketch entity. Similarly, second point जो होगा, that will be connected to the second point of the next profile, जो भी shape होगी उसे. So now if for example I am done with this rectangle and I want to click on the check mark button, so it will give you that error message. यहाँ पे अगर आप देखें, so the section must contain geometric entities for the feature. So right now we have only one section, so I cannot go for the blend option, because if at least you should have two entities and those two entities should be blended with each other. अगर फिर 3 or 4 entities हो तो that will depend on the scenario, but at least you need a minimum of 3 sections. So in the beginning, if you remember, so I have selected the parallel option. So the other section must be parallel to this one. Parallel to this one means that it will be on certain sketching plane which will be parallel to this top plane, and then you must have some offset distance between those two entities, so then it will be able to blend these. So within the blend option, you have the options to jump from one section to another section through a toggle key. So you can basically toggle between the sections. Or toggling के लिए you again have two options. So for example, if you are done with a section and then you want to jump for another section, so here is an option within the sketch menu. जब आप sketch पे click करेंगे, so feature tools का एक option है इसमें, और वहाँ पे toggle section का है. So you can toggle to the next section. From here, you can simply go to the sketch, feature tools and toggle, or you can simply right click on the sketching screen. So if I right click, so I have different options on that pop-up, and one of the option is the toggle section. So this is the shortcut for that. So I can directly click on the graphical screen my right mouse button, and then I can go for the toggle section. So if I click on that toggle section, so you can see that the current sketch has now become blunt in color. It is deactivated, and you are now able to make another entity or another profile or section, you can say, which will be parallel to this, because by default it is using the same sketching plane as the first one. So the second sketch must be parallel to the first one. So you have a new sketching plane which is parallel to that top plane. So here I will make another sketch, and then if you want to come out of this particular sketcher, so then it will ask you to give the offset distance in between those two sketches, or you can say those two sketch planes. So let me make another profile, and that profile must also have four corners, or you can say four endpoints. So let me make it simple, and I will make another rectangle but different in cross sectional area. So this is my uh, second sketch, and you can see that it has taken the same point, because in this section also I have started from this corner. So this arrowhead basically indicates the first point, and the direction of the arrow gives you the direction of the points, that if this is the first point, so the second point will be in this direction. We can change this direction, but that we will discuss later on. So right now, if you want to join or blend these two profiles, so what the system will do is that it will join first point to the first point of the second profile, second point of the first to second point of the second, third point of the first to the third point, and so on. So let me make another section also, so that you can easily understand that. So again, if you want to jump to the next section, so you have to either use the sketch feature operations toggle, or simply right click and then you can click on the toggle section, and again I will make another entity, for example with some other dimensions. So again, this is the first point. So right now we will have a straight edges in between those two, those rather 3 points. So if you want to close up your sections, so you will then click on this check mark button. Otherwise, if you want to make another section, so again you have to right click and then you can use the toggle section option and you can make another sketch. So we have these three profiles, and I want to blend them. So if I click on the check mark button, so now it will ask you to enter the offset distances in between those sections. They are parallel sections, but you must then enter the offset. So let the depth of the second section, that is from the first section, is 100 units. So by default, it will take this value and will also assign that particular value to the depth in between the second and the third section. So if you want to change, so you can, for example, if I set it to 120. So now the offset distance between the first section and the second section is 100 units, and in between the second section and the third section we have 120 offset units. So then I will click on this accept check mark button. So now if you look into the main listing of the blend option, so the first was attributes have been defined, sections have been defined, the direction is defined, that is we have the positive direction, and depth and that direction basically comes from the distances that you have given. Our distances was positive value, so positive means we are going in the positive direction. Otherwise अगर मैं minus की value देता तो that will go to the other side, and then later on we can change that also. So the depth has also been defined, 100 units and 120 units. So now if you want to check the preview, you can. So if I click on the preview, so these are basically my three sections. Let me turn off the visibility of these planes and the coordinate system also, so that you can easily, and let me change the view to the hidden wireframe. So now I have these three sections, the lower rectangle, the middle one, and the top one, and it has joined the first start point of the first rectangle to the start point of the second, and similarly the start point of the second rectangle to the start point of the third one. So in this way it will generate the object. And let me now show you different attributes that you can change. So for example, if I want to change the attribute from straight to smooth, so you will do the same thing like we did in the previous video for sweep command. So if I click on the attributes and click on the define key, so you can change that from here, or you can simply double click on any option, like for example attributes to मैं double click करता हूँ, so the same menu appears and I can change from straight to smooth. So इसको अगर मैं smooth पे convert करके done कर दूँ, and now if you check the preview, so you can see that now it has joined these sections with smooth curves. पहले आपके पास स्ट्रेट एजेस थी, लाइंस के थ्रू जो था, अगर स्मूथ का ऑप्शन आप यूज़ नहीं करते, स्ट्रेट का करते हैं, तो इट विल ट्राई टू कनेक्ट देम थ्रू स्ट्रेट एजेस, अदरवाइज इट विल ट्राई टू कनेक्ट इट टू smoothest possible curve that can be drawn in between the selected sections. And as far as the shading is concerned, the direction is concerned, so if you click on the direction, so you can so right now we have the positive direction, so I can flip that. अगर वहाँ पे आप माइनस वैल्यू नहीं दी आपने, and then later on you want to change the direction, so you can change that, so it will go to the other side. So again direction पे मैं flip करके अगर OK कर दूँ, so again I have the, and similarly you can go for the depths also. So initially depths हमने दिया था section 2 का 100 units, so if I want to change it to let us say 150, and suppose the third depth is 120, same. And now if you want to preview that, so the offset distance between the first and the second section is 150 units and the other two is 120 units. So this is how you can go for the blending of multiple sections. So once you have defined all the attributes, so you can always go back to the sections also. So let me, for example, if I click on the section, so it will go for the first sections, and then if like during the start, if I right click and I click on the toggle section, so it will jump to the next section. Similarly, next section, ये आपका last section था, and again here if I click on the toggle sections, so now none of the existing sketches are highlighted, and this is because we were in the last section, और last section के बाद जब आप toggle करते हैं, so it will give you an option to make a new profile or sketch over here. So you can insert new sketches also, and without going for any sketch command, if I again click on the right click mouse button and again choose the toggle section option, so it will then select the first one. So you can go back to any sketch, you can change the dimension of that, like for example if I click on the toggle section और इसका अगर मैं डायरेक्शन जो है वो चेंज करता हूँ, let us say this is the new dimension, so accordingly the result will also be updated. And one thing more, as I told you that the first point will be connected to the first, second to the second, third to the third, so what if let us say your start points does not align, so and how to set the start point, it is again an easy option. So by default from where you start, that will automatically be taken as the start point. So if you want to change your start point, the default start point, so you can simply click on any point. So you have first to select the point, so I will select this point. I have selected this point, and then if I place the cursor and then click the right mouse button, so you will get different options related to that particular point which you have selected. So you can jump to the next point, or you can go to the previous point. You can pick from the list if this point shares some other entity also. So अगर इस point पे आपके पास 2 या 3 entities हो, so then it would be very difficult to pick that particular point. So उस case में then you can use the pick from list option, and it will give you the list of all those entities which are sharing that particular location. You can delete this point, you can copy, you can cut it, you can lock this point, so then you will not be able to change the dimensions. And you also have the toggle section, and यहाँ पे अगर आप देखें, so you have the start point option. So you can change the start point, or you can say the sequence of your points. So if I click on the start point option, so it will take this as the start point, and now this is the first point, this is the second point, and if you want to, and this is basically the direction, and suppose you want to change the direction of those point sequences, so again जो आपका start point है, again if I click that point, so methodology remains the same. First you have to select the point, so ये point मैं select कर लूँगा, and then I will place the cursor and right click, and then if I again click on the start point option, so you will change the direction. So if you want to change the direction, select that particular point जो आपका start point है, and simply click on the start point. So like I will date it again. So if I take this, if I select this point and then right click and make it again as a start point, so it will change the direction. So now look at the sequence of the point. In the first section, this is my first point. In the second section, this is the first point. So it will basically connect this point to this one, second point to the second point, and third to the third. So what you will be getting is a twist angle. So basically, if you want to generate an object as a twisted object, so then you have to change those start point sequences. So let me jump to the next section. Like for example, if I toggle section, और ये आपका next है, तो इसको अगर मैं for example if I take this as my, so this is my first sketch, ये start point है, second का ये मैंने start point ले लिया, so this was for the first sketch, this was for the second, and let us say for this I take this point as my starting point. So now those corners will be joined like that particular twist. So once you have redefined all your entities, so always you can click on this check mark button, and now first let me change those attributes to straight, so that you can see that how it joins basically these points. And let me also change the view to the wireframe. So now if I preview that, this will be your final result. So you can see that the first point is connected to the first point of the second, and the first point of the second is connected to the first point of the third one. So similarly, now if you change it to shaded mode, so you can see that how it is joining these three different sections by giving a twist of that desired points जो भी आपने लिए हैं. So now if I change the attributes to smooth and click on the done button, and then if you want to preview that, so this will be basically the result. Similarly, if I go back to the sections, let me show you one thing more. If I toggle the section to the next, so I can go back to this point, I will click it and will make this as a start point, you know. And let me also for the third entity make the same point, this point, as the start point, you know. And let me also change the offset of this like this one. So now you can see that none of the sketches or profiles they are directly lying one upon the other. They are parallel to one another, but there is also an offset distance in between their these sections. So if I now click on the OK button, you know, and want to check the preview, you know, so you will have that. You know? So it doesn't matter that the entities should be directly one upon the other. They must be parallel to each other. Otherwise, ये offset distance जो है फर्स्ट एंटिटी पे लोकेशन यहाँ पे है, थर्ड यहाँ पे है, तो still it will make that particular object for you. You know, so this is how you can change the depths, the curves, the attributes of a blended object. So hope now you will understand that what we mean by blend. So in blending you will have multiple sections, and basically it will blend all those sections by joining them through the endpoints. So आखिर में आप ओके करके you will get that desired result, and you can see it is a solid. So it doesn't matter that you make a solid part through the blend command or sweep command or any other command. If you have a solid object, you can use all the editing options on that particular solid. So it is a blended object. For example, if I want to shell it, so I can use. So if I want to remove this surface, I can, and this will be my resultant object. So solids के जितने भी आपके पास commands होंगे, you can directly convert that solid model to a surface model, as we did in the surface of revolution या extruded command में जो आपके पास थी. So this is how you will go for the blend options. Let me give you a simple example again. For example, you have, let me change the view to standard. So if I go to insert, go for the blend, protrusion ही मैं select करता हूँ. So I will select the protrusion, and I will still work in parallel, regular section, sketch section, and then I will click the done button. So the first option is the attribute. So straight या smooth जो भी आप करते हैं, so let it be straight. Done. Later on we can change that. Section. Section define करने के लिए again I will use an existing plane, like for example top plane. Positive view direction. Okay. Orientation is default. So simply I will make circles, and look what you can do with the blend option. So if I make a circle, okay, dimension it, जो भी आप dimension देना चाहे, let it be 100 units. Right click, you have to deactivate basically the existing sketch. Right click, toggle section, and then again I am making another circle. Let it be of some smaller radius. Okay. Right click, toggle key. I will make another circle with some bigger radius. Then again toggle section. Let me make a fourth circle also. Suppose somewhere in between there. Yeah. So now I have 4 circular profiles parallel to each other, because I have used the toggled option. And now when I will click on this check mark button, so it will ask you to enter the desired offset distances in between those sections. So let me, for example, the distance in between the first and second entity is suppose 130 units. Okay. For third, it will take the same value, but if you want to change it, you can. So let it be 100 units. Okay. So again, for the fourth, let it be 100. Okay. So now you have defined the attributes, you have defined the sections, डायरेक्शन आपने डिफाइन कर दी है, पॉजिटिव साइड पे होगी, डेप्थ इज ब्लाइंड आपने दे दी है वैल्यूज. सो इफ आई क्लिक नाउ ऑन द प्रीव्यू, सो यू कैन सी दैट this is your desired result that you are getting. Now if I want to change the attributes from straight to smooth, let us say, and you preview that, this is the resultant object. Let me turn off the planes so that you can see. So now you can see that what you can do with a simple blend feature by using the simple sections. So if I go back to, let us say, the depths options, and you want to change, let us say, the other depths to some values, like for example, of the last section again to 130 units. So and then you can go for the preview. So this will be your section. And similarly, you can go to the sections, you can go to the direction, you can flip that, you can go to the other direction, in that. So this is how you can use the blend options. Okay. And one other thing that just came into my mind is that if you have a blended option, so you can directly click on that, you can directly go to the editing of that, like जिस तरह solid में आप करते हैं. So if I place the cursor on that blended object and double click, so all the dimensions of the blend features will appear, and directly you can change those distances. For example, अगर ये मैं 150 कर दूँ, and then I regenerate that, so it will be regenerated. Similarly, you can go for those diameters, you can change all the diameters, and accordingly आपका जो resultant object होगा that will change. And you can always use those editing, like जिस तरह shell का मैंने आपको बताया. So again, if I click on the shell and remove this face, so as it is a solid object, so you can use that. So you can directly change any solid body to a thickened object. So this will be your result. One thing more with the blend feature is that I will again sketch another entity right in front of you so that you can understand it well. If I go to insert, again I will use the blend option. Parallel का ही मैं यूज़ कर रहा हूँ. Sketch done. Straight smooth जो भी आप करते हैं, इसको मैं क्लिक करके एक प्लेन जो है वो सेलेक्ट कर देता हूँ. Let it be again the top plane, default. Suppose section में I make a rectangle, click toggle key, and then in the second sketch, if I make, for example, a triangle, and if now I click on the check mark button, so it will give you the error message that the number of entities per section must be equal. Number of entities जो है वो यहाँ पे हमारे पास different है. I have 4 edges of the first section, and there are 3 edges, or you can see say 3 endpoints in the second one. So how you are going to blend these? one of the possible solution is that that each point will be blended with each one, but here we can have a point which can be shared with two other points. So an option is also available for that particular command, and the number of that particular sketch in which you have, okay, so we have a triangle over here. So that particular sketch which has less number of endpoints, in that particular section you have the facility to blend basically one point with multiple points of the other section. So what we can do is that if I select any point, like normally it will join first point to the first, second to the second, third to the third, fourth will be left. So if you want to join this fourth point with the last one, so I will blend this particular vertex. Blend vertex option available hai. But suppose if you want to join the first point of the first with the first, second and third with the second, and last with the last, so you can do that also. So you can basically blend any vertex of this particular entity. So if I take this point and right click on that, okay, so if I click on that particular point, I right click and then I blend this vertex, so you will see that a circular basically section has been created around that particular point. So that circle represents, or it will show you that this point has been blended with more than one point. So अगर दो circle है, तो it means that it will be shared or it will be joined with 3 points. So let me also demonstrate that. So right now it is okay. So if I click on the OK button, so then it will ask you for the height. So give any appropriate height, like for example 200 अगर मैं दे रहा हूँ, so that will be. And now if I want to preview that, so you can see that the first point is joined with the first point, the second and third point is joined with this point, and last point जो है वो इसके साथ होगा. So that will depend on your selection, that how you are going. So if I go back to the definition of the section, I have nothing to do with this section. So if I toggle to the next section, और इसमें ये point जो है अगर इसको मैं select कर दूँ, so now it is very difficult to pick that particular circle, because if you point your cursor on that particular point, so it is selecting the point basically, not the blended circle. So that is why what I was telling you previously, that if you right click, so you have the pick from list option. So if situation is like that, so you can pick that particular point and then right click, pick from list. So this list will then give you the list of all the entities that has been sharing that particular point. यहाँ पे ये line भी आ रही है, point end point of one line है, end point of second line है, and you also have that blend vertex. So if I select this blend vertex option and click on the OK button, so अब ये circle जो है red in color है, so simply I can hit the delete key and I can delete that. So if now I select this point, right click and make it as a blended vertex and then click the OK button, and now if you check the preview, so you will see that first will be added to the first one, second is joined to the second, and third and fourth is joined to that particular third point. So this is how you can use the blend option. Again, if I let us say go to the sections. First section में let me add another. For example, if I delete this one and I start with a line, for example यहाँ से यहाँ तक एक line है, okay. So now the first section is comprising of 5 edges, or you can say 5 endpoints, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now if I toggle to the next section, it is comprising of 3. So 2 points आप फिर blend करेंगे, or you can blend a single point also. So right now if I blend this point, let us say, so now the first point will be connected to the first point, to this second and third point will connect, and to this blend the fourth and fifth point will be connected of the first entity. So I have solved that problem, and if I now I click on the check mark button and I want to check the preview, so this will be your result. First to the first, second, third to the third point, and third, fourth, fifth to the next point. Suppose if I go back to the sections, I toggle to this one, मैं ये point select कर दूँ, and I right click and pick from the list में blend vertex select करके, if I delete that particular point, so now first will be connected to the first, second to the second, third and fourth to the third one, fifth is remaining. So if you want to again join this fifth also to that particular point, so you can double blend this particular vertex also. So I have already blended this point, but if I again select this one and then again right click and use the blend vertex option again, so now you can see 2 circles around that particular point. So this means that you can now join 3 other points to this one. So if I click on the check mark button, and now if you want to check the preview, so you can see that first point is connected to the first, second to the second, third, fourth and fifth to this one. So this is how you can use the blend option. And one thing more, this is the last step. So let me go to the sections. If I delete this one, delete these points also, and suppose I make a circle, and now if I hit the toggle key and also delete those entities, and instead of profile, suppose I have a single point only, so there is a point option available in that particular mode. So here if I, let us say at the center point, I define a point, and now I click the check mark button, and if I hit on the click key, so the circle will be connected to the point. So if you have a point as an entity in the blending option, so that point can be joined to any section if it is a closed section. Like ज़रूरी नहीं है कि आपके पास circle हो. So let me change this circle to, let us say, rectangle बना देता हूँ. So if you have any closed entity, that closed entity can be blended with a single point. So you can see the versatility of the blend command, basically that how versatile it is, and how you can use the blend command in many different ways, in which you with simple sketches you can get complex shapes. So that's it for today's video. In the next, inshallah, we will try to cover the पैरेलल, नॉट द पैरेलल तो इसमें हो गया है, जो रोटेशनल ब्लेंड है, रोटेशनल ब्लेंड ऑप्शन एंड द जनरल ब्लेंड ऑप्शन विल बी covered inshallah in the next video. So that's it for this one. Okay, thank you.